Warlocks are spellcasters who receive their spellcasting power from the pacts they form with powerful otherworldly entities, and the categories of these otherworldly patrons make up the Warlock subclasses. It means that the Warlock subclass is much more than a bundle of features. The identity of their patron and their personality also influence the roleplay aspect of the character. How would an angelic patron's demand differ to a devil's? Can you imagine? How about the whims of a sentient sword possessed by an entity from Shadowfell? In general, Warlocks suffer the, pardon the pun, curse, or some may say the benefit of the immensely powerful Eldritch Blast build. The reason I call this a curse is because the combination of the Warlock's base spells and features, Eldritch Blast, Hex, and the agonizing bolt Eldritch Invocation is so good, it overshadows many new damage-dealing features. Whatever subclass is chosen, this combo is always there in the corner, tempting players to take it. While it might be a bit boring to see so many Warlocks running around with that combo, it can be liberating sometimes, because as long as they have those, they have pretty much fulfilled their duty as damage dealer, and can build other aspects of their character. The Warlocks of the Undying Patron gives the Warlock an expanded choice of support spells and support features, and none of them deal damage at all. The Undying Patrons are powerful entities who have conquered death, such as powerful liches and even god liches like Vecna, who became the primary antagonist for the first season of Critical Role. At first level, they get the feature that forces undeads to have to succeed on their wisdom saving throw to be able to even attempt to attack the Warlock. So zombies and skeletons are a minor threat to them, unless provoked. At higher level, their patron's power over death is further manifested by the Warlock's ability to regain hit points when stabilizing a creature or when they succeed their death saving throw. It practically means that they can easily jump back to life when they're down to 0 hit points. To balance this powerful feature, it is reusable only after a long rest. Eventually, these Warlocks can hold their breath indefinitely. They don't need food, water, sleep, and they even age at a slower rate. This can actually make them really good spies, especially when combined with the indestructible life feature they get later on. That feature works similarly to the fighter's second wind feature, hit point recovery with bonus action, but it has the added benefit of being able to reattach the Warlock's severed body part back to its place. So if you put the two features together with a certain circumstance, such as small airtight places plus reattachable parts, you may get some weird role-playing idea. I don't know how the rest of your party will react to it though. That subclass was from Sword Coast Adventurer's Guide. The next two is from Xanathar's Guide to Everything. The Celestial Patrons are powerful celestial creatures short of being gods, otherwise the Warlock would be a cleric. Archangels, unicorns, Empyreans are some examples of these patrons. The Celestial Warlock get expanded spell choices of popular cleric spells, but that doesn't make them gentle healers, because this subclass is designed to heal and burn. To make up for the lack of spell slots, this Warlock get a pool of healing d6s. The pool size increases with their levels. If you do the math and average it out, they would heal less than the Paladins lay on hands. But the major difference is that they can use this feature with their bonus action, so they can still use their main action to cast a healing spell on top of that, or even attack. Perhaps with a Sacred Flame cantrip they also get for free from their subclass. At higher level, they can grant themselves and their allies temporary hit points after short or long rests. Eventually, they can choose to rise like a phoenix and gain hit points while damaging creatures of their choice within 30 feet. This is usable once per long rest, of course. In terms of damage dealing, they get to add their charisma modifier to the fire or radiant damage they deal. But the problem is that it only affects a single target, so it is near useless for area of effect spells and doesn't help the Sacred Flame cantrip compete with a good old Eldritch Blast combo. The Hexblade subclass seems to be pretty popular. I don't know if Ford from Critical Role has anything to do with it, or maybe a lot of people just like to be edgelords. Or in this case, edgelock? I will stop now. Despite my jibes, this is actually a pretty solid subclass that works. These Warlocks get their power through the pact they form with sentient weapons, so it is natural that combat features become an important part of this subclass. In their effort to prevent the Warlock having to thin out their points to too many abilities, which was a problem with a few subclasses, Wizards of the Coast made it so that the Warlock can use their charisma ability to attack with their chosen weapon. Thematically, it also makes sense. The Warlock could have gotten their fighting ability from their patron, a weapon that has seen centuries or even millennia's worth of combat in the hands of countless powerful warriors. Their main feature is called Hexblade's Curse. It is similar to the Hex spell, but much better. And since it is not a spell, Hex can be applied on top of it to deal even more damage. I think that most people who are interested in this subclass would want to know two very important things. First, can this subclass survive in the front line? I don't think players are going to pick this subclass for the purpose of shooting Eldritch Blast from safety. The answer to that question is yes. That's because the Hexblade Warlock get proficiency in medium armor and shield. On top of that, at higher level, the Warlock can use their reaction to reduce the attack accuracy of creatures under their Hexblade curse by half. The second important question is, will the damage output be overtaken by the Eldritch Blast combo again? With the combination of their standard Eldritch Invocation and new ones, the Warlock's melee attacks can be augmented to be as powerful as the Eldritch Blast combo. But upon reaching level 17, when the Eldritch Blast gets its fourth attack, it would overtake it. Even then, melee attack can still fulfill some role. There is a new Eldritch Invocation from Xanathar's guide called Eldritch Smite, which can only be initiated by pack weapons. It can deal a massive damage burst by spending their spell slot, so it can be used as a finisher move. To break up the curse and attack pattern, this subclass can also bind the soul of a person they slay to their will. The soul becomes a specter and obeys the Warlock's verbal commands until the end of their next long rest. This can lead to some interesting roleplay besides combat support. In general, I think all the new Warlock subclasses are interesting, but some are obviously going to be more popular than others. I also think that it is great that every subclass have some components that encourage roleplay. Well, that's my opinion anyway. What do you guys think? By the way, if you find this review useful, give it a thumbs up. If you are new here and want to see more Dungeons & Dragons content, please subscribe and press the bell button so that you will be notified when new videos like this are published. CJ, over and out.